Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jai Hind. I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good evening. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Khan Global Studies. So, we are starting the current affairs session of English medium. In the previous class, we have discussed about certain topics like we have discussed about the motion for removal of the Chief Election Commission. We have also talked about the problems related to hunger in India or nutrition related problem in India. Apart from this, we have also discussed about the amoebic meningoencephalitis. We have seen the topic with respect to the Chandrayaan 4. We have seen this topic of human on the Indian on moon. And at the same time, we have discussed some other topics also. These are the topics which we have discussed in the last session. Now, in today's session, the topics which we are going to discuss, you can see this. We have a number of topics today. One is with respect to the presidential reference. There is this one topic with respect to presidential reference that you may be aware about this issue, that this case has started from the R.N. Ravi case of Tamil Nadu, and then this matter has been converted into a presidential reference. So we are going to talk about this a little bit. Then we will talk about India and China relations. Some new elements have come up in India-China relations. So we are going to see this one development also, that what new things have come up here. Then we will see this one part, the crocodiles in India, particularly about saltwater crocodile. Then we will talk about the removal of PM. There is a bill for removal of PM, CM and other candidates. This has become one of the most highlighted topic in Parliament today also. So we are going to talk about this one. Then we will talk about a bill which has come in Karnataka for the gig workers. So that is also one thing which we are going to discuss. Then we will discuss about the private sector participation in the defense and a bill which has also been brought for the gaming firms. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss in today's session. So before we go into that, let us solve some questions on the basis of previous classes, and then we will come to these topics. So let's see this one question. Okay. The question is this: the constitutional provisions require support of 100 MPs in Lok Sabha for a motion to remove the Chief Election Commissioner. The resolution for removal of election commissioner requires special majority in both houses of parliament. So which of the statements given above are correct? So here we are having two statements. First one is saying the constitutional provision requires support of 100 MPs in Lok Sabha for a motion to remove the Chief Election Commissioner. Second is saying that second option is saying that the resolution for removal of election commissioner requires special majority in both houses of parliament. So which one is going to be correct here? Good evening. Which one is going to be correct here? D option, D option. Okay. Okay. So I think most of the people are going for option number B. Some people are going for option number D. Lok Sabha 100, Rajya Sabha 50. Okay. So if we look at this, there is no such constitutional provision. There is no such constitutional provision which says this. The constitution is saying simply this one part, that the person is going to be removed in the same manner as that of a high court judge. Even in the case of removal of a high court judge, it is given under the Judges Inquiry Act. The process for removal of a judge is given in the Judges Inquiry Act, not in the constitution. Okay. So here again, this one option is incorrect. The resolution for removal of election commissioner requires a special majority in both houses of parliament. This is required for chief election commissioner, not the election commissioner. It is required only in case of CEC. For the election commissioner, it can be done simply on advice of CEC, on advice of chief election commissioner. So second option is also incorrect. The answer will be option number D, that is neither 1 nor 2. Okay. So let's come to question number 2. The Constitution provides the power to governor to nominate members in Legislative Assembly on advice of Council of Ministers. In case of any UTs, the nomination does not require the advice of elected Council of Ministers. So here we have this question number 2. Blunder, mistake. So here we are having the second question. The Constitution provides the power to governor to nominate members in Legislative Assembly on advice of Council of Ministers. In case of any UTs, the nomination does not require the advice of elected Council of Minister. C option, B option, B option. C option and B option. See, if we look at this, Constitution provides the power to governor to nominate members on advice of Council of Minister. This is correct, but not for Legislative Assembly. It is for Legislative Council. It is for Legislative Council. Now there is no such provision for Legislative Assembly. There is no such provision for Legislative Assembly. There was provision earlier for Anglo-Indian members. There was earlier a provision for Anglo-Indian members in the Legislative Assembly in certain areas. But now that provision has been done away with. In Legislative Assemblies, now there are no such nominated members. This was an earlier provision. So first option here is incorrect. In case of any UTs, the nomination, here the word is in case of any UTs. Right now, this is only for the Union Territory of Puducherry. This has only been decided for the Union Territory of Puducherry. It has not been decided for other UTs. Like for Jammu and Kashmir, it has not been decided yet. Okay. So this second option is also incorrect. Here the answer is going to be option number D. Okay. Here the option is again option number D. Consider the following statement. In India, patent is provided for a period of 20 years. Most of the patents in India are being filed by corporates in the present times. Which of the statements given above are correct? मैं जानबूझ के इसलिए कंफ्यूज कराता हूं ताकि आप लोग एग्जाम में कंफ्यूज ना हो. Good evening. So here we have the third statement, third question. In India, patent is provided for a period of 20 years. Most of the patents in India are being filed by corporates in the present times. A option, C option, B option. In India, patent is provided for a period of 20 years. That one is correct. Most of the patents in India are being filed by corporates in the present times. That is incorrect. Now it is educational institutions. Last day we have seen data with respect to this. It is educational institutions. Then it is followed by individuals. And then it is followed by corporates. Okay. So this one is incorrect. Answer will be option number A. That is one only. So patent is provided for a period of 20 years. That one is correct. But the second part which is saying that most of the patents are being provided or being filed by corporates, that is incorrect one. Because we have seen that in the data a day before yesterday, that most of the patents are being filed by educational institutions, followed by individuals, then by corporates. So here again the answer will be option number A. So what's happening these days? Incorrect answers. Okay, so let's start our discussion. Okay, let's start our discussion. The first topic is with respect to the presidential reference. Okay, the first topic which we are going to discuss about is with respect to presidential reference. So we will try to understand this one. Okay. Now what we see that, like if we see the context of it, what is the context here? Okay. The context is this: there was RN Ravi case. RN Ravi case. Here what we see that the Supreme Court, it provided a timeline. It provided a timeline for governor for giving assent or rejecting or withholding a bill. So we have already seen that in RN Ravi case, Supreme Court has directed, Supreme Court has given a guideline that what would be the timeline, for the governors to decide upon this part, that whether they are going to approve the bill or they are going to reject the bill or they are going to withhold the bill, or even for reserving it for president. A timeline has been fixed. A timeline has been fixed for the governors. After this, there was a presidential reference. There is one Article 143. Under Article 143, there is a provision for presidential reference. Presidential reference. Okay. So now presidential reference is also of two types. Okay. One is law or treaty after independence, and second is any law or treaty before independence. So presidential reference is such a case where president is referring a matter to the Supreme Court for its opinion. Here what we see that the president is trying to take the opinion of the Supreme Court regarding certain matters. Okay. There can be a law or a treaty which is after the independence. Here the Supreme Court may or may not, may provide or refuse to provide opinion. May provide or refuse to provide opinion. But in this case, it is mandatory to provide opinion. it is mandatory to provide opinion. So if there is any pre-constitutional, if there is any pre-constitutional treaty or law, in that case, Supreme Court is mandated to provide its opinion. In the post-constitution era, if a law is there or if a treaty is there, then Supreme Court may or may not provide its opinion. Then again, it is opinion, so it is not binding. Opinion is not binding. Opinion is not binding. So even if Supreme Court is giving some opinion, it is not binding. It is considered as part of advisory jurisdiction. It is part of advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Okay. So we are having certain examples. We have certain examples of the past. Let me show you some of the famous examples of the past. Okay. There was this very famous case of Berry Union. Okay. So it was about question of ceding Indian territory to Pakistan. Okay. So here there was a question that if we have to cede a territory of India to Pakistan, does it require constitutional amendment or not? Okay. So here it has been said that court advised that a constitutional amendment is required to transfer territory. A constitutional amendment is required to transfer a territory to any other country. Second thing, we have this Keshwanand Bharti review of 1975. Keshwanand Bharti cases of 1973. But there was an opinion for review of this Keshwanand Bharti case. What we see that in this part, there was a reference to reconsider the basic structure doctrine. Okay. So in this matter, court declined to reopen the case. Court has declined to reopen the case. Court said that basic structure doctrine will continue. It is not going to reopen that case. Okay. So this was the second option of a reference in case of India. Third reference is from 1993, Ayodhya dispute. Okay. So here the government sought opinion on whether a Hindu temple existed at the disputed site. At that time, the court declined to answer, terming it unnecessary for resolution of the dispute. Okay. So here Supreme Court didn't give an opinion whether it will be there or not. Okay. Then after, what we see that there is a special reference number 1 of 2012, which is related to 2G spectrum case. Here again the president has asked whether natural resources should only be auctioned. Okay. So in this case, Supreme Court opined that the auction is not the only permissible method. The government can choose other fair and transparent methods also. So these are some of the famous cases of references in the past. Okay. We have seen this one thing, that what is the context? The context is with respect to R.N. Ravi case. What is the situation in case of presidential reference? If there is a pre-constitutional treaty or law, Supreme Court is mandated to give its opinion. In case of post-constitution treaty or law, it is not mandatory for Supreme Court to give the opinion. Now here what we see that this is opinion and hence it is not binding. Hence it is not binding on the government also. So this is one part. This is the first topic with respect to presidential reference. I hope this one is clear, that what is presidential reference, what is the legal provision for this. I hope this one is clear. Any doubt in this? So now we have the second topic, and that is with respect to India-China relations. When we talk about India-China relation, it is said that it is marked by Some people say it is marked by 3 things or 3C, or some say it is marked by 4C. But if we talk about this, we will find that there are 3 things with respect to India-China relation. There is one thing called as confrontation. There is another thing, there we have competition. And third part, where we have coordination. So when we are talking about India and China, there are 3 elements of relation. There is 3C of India-China relation. Confrontation, it is there with respect to border and territory. It is also there with respect to membership of international organization. It is also there with respect to support to terrorism in Pakistan. So these are the areas of confrontation between India and China. Okay. There is a competition also. Competition is there with respect to trade. Competition is there with respect to diplomatic engagement. With respect to investment. And with respect to relations with neighboring countries. But at the same time, there is a coordination also. There are certain elements of coordination also. For example, reforms in WTO. Reform in UN. Reforms in multilateral institutions. Environmental deals or environmental forums. Okay. So when we talk about India-China relation, you will find that it is marked by 3C, that is confrontation, competition, and coordination. So this is one background of India-China relation. There is a confrontation also, competition also, coordination also. Now, what is the latest development? Okay. If we talk about this, why we are discussing about this India-China relation as of now? What has changed? Okay. The change is with respect to the visit of, simply the statements by the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Okay. So what we see that recently, Chinese Foreign Minister, he has said that India-China relations are facing an important opportunity. Okay. There is an important opportunity for India and China. He has simply said that, now see this one part, he has acknowledged that there have been some recent setbacks like Galwan clashes or tension along the line of actual control. Now at the same time, China has emphasized stable, predictable and constructive relationship. Okay. So now we see that both countries are coming together, both countries are trying to modify the relations. In fact, there has been a personal message and invitation from President Xi Jinping to Prime Minister for the SCO summit in China. The next SCO summit is going to take place in China, and there has been a personal invitation to India to come to China. In fact, Indian Prime Minister has accepted this also, and India will be going in China for this SCO meet. Okay. But at the same time, you will find this one part also, that our external affairs minister, he has also highlighted certain concerns. Okay. That if we want to have a good relations with China, there are certain prerequisites. There are certain things which we require. There are certain prerequisites. What are those? First, complete withdrawal of troops from line of actual control. There must be a complete withdrawal of the forces from line of actual control. Second thing is, there must be, there is a concern with respect to cross-border terrorism from Pakistan supported by China. And also a reminder to China that while you are inviting us to SCO, one of the objective of SCO is to counter terrorism. So while on one hand you are saying that SCO meet is going to take place, one of the objective of SCO is to counter terrorism. But on the other hand, China is supporting Pakistan, which is the home ground for terrorism in the world, and particularly in India. So these are certain concerns which have been highlighted. So you can see that we need to move from this 3C to the 4th C. We need to move to the 4th C, which stands for collaboration. We need to move towards the next thing, which is collaboration. And this collaboration can be people to people. Technology. Then collaboration for international reforms. Global peace. Environmental challenges. So this is perhaps the way forward for India and China, that they need to move away from 3C to the 4th C. 4th C stands for collaboration. So there is a need of collaboration between India and China on certain issues. For example, people-to-people collaboration, people-to-people collaboration, people-to-people connectivity. We need to have collaboration with respect to technology. We need to have collaboration with respect to international reforms. Collaboration for global peace and stability. Collaboration for environmental challenges. Okay. So this is where we need to move. We need to move from the 3C of India-China relation to the 4th C, that is collaboration. Okay. So I think now if you have to write about India and China relation, so you can write it in a somewhat better manner. Now we have an approach also that how we can write this, that we need to move from 3C to the 4th C, and 4th C is about collaboration. So this is the second topic with respect to India and China relations. Now, there is the third part, saltwater crocodile. There is the third part, saltwater crocodile. Can you tell me how many types of crocodile are found in India? How many types of crocodile are found in India? And where do we see them? Where do we see them? How many types of crocodile are there? Salt and freshwater. Freshwater crocodile found in Chambal River. Okay. So if you look at this, we have three different types of crocodile. Okay. One is called as gharial. This gharial is something which survives only in fresh water. Fresh water. This one is critically endangered. Like Chambal River is one such area which is very much famous for this. Its population is quite on the lower side. Okay. The approximate population is going to be around 600 to 700. Okay. So population is around 600 to 700. If we talk about saltwater crocodile, this is something which is found in the sea or coastal area. This is of least concern. Means it is quite abundant. There is no such threat to the saltwater crocodile. It has population in lakhs. Okay. Its population, it is there in lakhs. More than 5 lakh. Then we have a third type of crocodile which is called as mugger. It can survive in both fresh and brackish water, both in fresh, brackish and saline water. This is something which is considered as vulnerable. It has population between something around 7,000 to 8,000. It is having population around 7,000 to 8,000. You can see the difference in the structure also. Okay. This one, if you look at this, it is having, like, you will find that, like, if you look at this, its mouth is quite long. Its mouth, its snout, this is called as the snout. So it is quite long. It is quite long. Okay. Whereas if you look at this saltwater crocodile or mugger crocodile, you will find that it is different. Okay. Their structure is different. Okay. So there is a difference in their structure also. You will find that this mugger is having quite broad mouth as compared to even saltwater crocodile. So mugger is having the broadest mouth. Then if you look at this, like the saltwater crocodile, it is having a little bit bigger snout, but not as big as the gharial. Okay. So gharial is there in fresh water. Then we have saltwater crocodile, and then we have the mugger crocodile. So mugger is very much common in lakes, ponds, everywhere. Even in some of the lakes, some ponds, nearby coastal areas also it can be found. This saltwater crocodile is exclusively there in seawater or coastal areas. Okay. So these are the three types of crocodiles which are very much common in case of India. They are the three crocodiles common in India. So that is our third topic, crocodiles in India. Now, coming to the next part. Now, this is an ongoing thing. Like we will discuss it next day also. But this is an ongoing development and it is quite controversial one. Okay. So there is going to be a next amendment bill in the case of Parliament. Okay. A new amendment bill has been introduced today itself in the Parliament. It is called as the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill. So there is this 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill. And at the same time, there is going to be two other bills, Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2025 and Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill 2025. The two other bills are also going to be introduced along with this. But what is the provision here? The provision is very simple, that if there is, according to this, if there is Prime Minister, Chief Minister or any other minister, if they have been arrested, and sent to custody, then after 30 days, either they resign or they will automatically be removed. Okay. So what we see that, like after 30 days, either they resign or they will be automatically removed. From post. So either they resign from their post or they will be automatically removed from the post. So this has been done because it has been seen that there have been multiple ministers, or there have been some of the chief ministers who have been ruling over the state from the jail. Okay. There have been cases where some of the ministers or some of the chief ministers have been in jail, and from there they have been discharging their duties as minister or chief minister. So now there is a bill, and this bill is providing for this provision that if chief minister, prime minister or any other minister at union or state level, if they have been there in jail for 30 days or more, if more than 30 days, either they will resign automatically or they will be removed. Now there is a provision. Suppose that there is a provision, suppose that they are released from the jail. They are released from the jail, so then after they can be appointed again. Once they are released from the jail, they can be appointed again as minister or chief minister or prime minister. So there is option of reappointment, but within 30 days, if they don't come out of the jail, then on 31st day, either they will resign or they will be removed. In case of prime minister, by the president. In case of chief minister, by the governor. So this is the provision of the bill. This is the provision of the bill. Now tell me, why this bill is being opposed? Why there is an opposition to this bill? Why there is opposition to this bill? What is the possible reason for this opposition? And why it has been introduced? See, why it has been brought in? Why introduced? There is one reason: to reduce corruption, to reduce misuse of power, and to ensure effective functioning of ministry or government? So government has said that it will help in reducing corruption. It can also help in reducing misuse of power. If people are there in power, they can misuse it, and they can try to like modify the evidences. They can try to manipulate with witnesses, with evidences. They can misuse their power. Plus, at the same time, it is not possible to run the government or the ministry from the jail. It is not possible to run the ministry or the government from the jail. So for all these matter, this provision has been made. So now the thing is, why there is opposition to it. Okay. So we have seen multiple cases where people have been sent to jail for months. People have gone to jail for months, and then after spending 2 years or 3 years, they have been released because there has not been sufficient evidence, or perhaps there was a fake case. Okay. So several instances of fake cases, of fake cases and custody for several months. Potential misuse for political reasons. So this is why this bill is being opposed right now. This is why the bill is being opposed right now. But as of today, it has been sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. It has been sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. If the bill is going to be passed, then there is going to be amendment. There is going to be amendment in Article 75, Article 164, and Article 239AA. So there is 3 different things which is going to be amended. Article 75, Article 164, and 239AA. These are the articles which are going to be amended. If this bill is being passed, if this bill becomes an act, okay, if this constitutional amendment bill becomes an act, then there is going to be modification in these parts of the constitution. Okay. So let's see. Okay. सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सी party? So there is a potential misuse. There is a chance that there may be potential misuse of this bill. Okay. So that is why it is being opposed by several parties. Okay. So there has been a great uproar in the parliament today also against this bill. So let's see that what happens with the bill. Right now it has been referred to the Joint Parliamentary Committee, and it has been referred to Joint Parliamentary Committee for a reason. Let's suppose if Joint Parliamentary Committee recommends it, then when it sends it back, then after what will happen that Lok Sabha will pass it and Rajya Sabha will pass it. Then there won't be any parliamentary committee of Rajya Sabha again. Okay. So there has been constitution of a joint parliamentary committee so that both houses can examine this bill, and then there won't be any other delay in passing the bill. So this is why this bill has been sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. So this is the bill which has been introduced right now. Okay. Now, there is another bill, but it is there in Karnataka. And Karnataka has brought in a bill. They have brought this bill for the gig workers. So this is one thing, like they have brought in certain provisions. Can you tell me how many gig workers are there in India? Any figure, any idea about this? How many gig workers are there in India? Any estimate for this? How many gig workers are there in India? One crore. Hey, Niti Aayog is saying that we have got around 23.5 million gig workers in India by 2029 2030. Okay. So Niti Aayog has given a data. Niti Aayog is saying right now that by 2029-30 we would have around 23.5 million. This is going to be the gig workers in India. If we talk about Karnataka, so they have got as of now they have got 4 lakh gig workers. They have got 4 lakh gig workers. And for this region, what we see that they have brought in a bill for the reform. Okay. And as part of this reform, there is going to be a welfare fund. Gig worker social security and welfare fund is going to be created. So what we see that there is going to be a gig worker social security and welfare fund. There is going to be a social security and welfare fund. This is going to be for gig workers, especially for gig workers. Now the thing is, what will be the source of money for this fund? How they will be getting the fund? So what is the source of money? What is the source of money for this gig workers? The source of money is going to be the platforms, the employers, the gig workers, even state and central government. Okay. So it is going to be platforms, employers, workers, union and state. So that is going to be the source. That is going to be the source, and there is a provision that only 5%, like not more than 5% of this fund can be used for administrative tasks. Okay. So not more than 5% of fund for administrative tasks. It means around 95% of the fund, the 95% of the fund generated here is going to be directed towards welfare of the gig workers. So this is a very interesting part, that there is a clear-cut mandate that if this fund is being collected, we cannot use it for administrative tasks, that we will give this much for this document, we will give that much for this building infrastructure creation. No, it has to go straight to the gig workers. Okay. There will also be a welfare board. There is also going to be a welfare board. Okay. So this is going to be like it will register workers. It will go to register gig workers. It is going to register the gig workers, and it is going to handle dispute resolution. It is going to handle the dispute resolution. At the same time, it will also ensure income security and reasonable working condition. reasonable working condition. It has been seen that in the present times, gig workers are working for 16 hours per day. 16 hours per day, and still they are earning around just 1800 rupees per day. So even after working 16 hours per day, they are earning very less amount of money. So this is one part. There must be a reasonable working condition. So that is why they have come up with this bill. They have come with this bill for safety and security for welfare of the gig workers. There are provisions for like safety equipment, safety gears, and all other things also. So this is one such major part of the bill. So now when you are writing something about gig workers, you have another example which you can quote there, that Karnataka's gig worker safety bill or Karnataka gig workers bill is one of the options which we can implement throughout the country. You can make a flow chart where you can simply show that what are the provisions there. You can just show it through a flow chart also. So this will be a good case study for your answer. I hope that is clear. What about conflict with central laws? If there is a conflict with central laws, you know that central laws will prevail. If there is a conflict with central law, then central laws prevail. This is available in PDF. We will get it after the session. Okay. So for today, we are discussing only these much topics. Okay. Next day, we will discuss one remaining topic, that is private sector in defense production. There is simple one thing: private sector participation has increased in defense procurement. So we will see that part in tomorrow's session. I am just showing you the image right now that private sector share in defense production has increased to 22.5%. But we will discuss this one article in tomorrow's session. Yeah. Today there were like 7 articles in the newspaper. Yeah. So we could discuss 5 today, because you know that at 6 we have class in Hindi medium also. So today we are discussing these 5. Tomorrow we will discuss this one, private sector participation, and then we will see also about the bill with respect to the e-gaming or simply the gaming platforms. So we will see that in tomorrow's session. So I hope these 5 topics are clear. I hope these 5 topics are clear, that what is the issue of presidential reference, India-China relation, saltwater crocodile, removal of PM, CM and others, and bill for gig workers. I hope these 5 topics are clear. So see, if you look at this, this is something which is going to be useful for prelims. Here we have seen some words, some keywords for mains also. Here we have seen certain keywords for mains. This is both for like, this is having some important for prelims. Okay. This is part of like prelims also and maybe mains also. And this is something which is a case study for mains. So this is the utility of these topics. In tomorrow's session, we will see these 2 parts also, private sector in defense and bill for gaming firms. Okay. Yes. So let's meet then tomorrow, and then we will discuss the remaining topics. Okay. Because at 6 we are also starting in Hindi. Okay. So we will meet again tomorrow at 5 PM. So thank you everyone. Take care and all the best. Hindi कब से पढ़ाने लगे? देखो, if you see it in 2023, from 2023 December, I have taken class in both Hindi and English. Later on, I shifted to just this English part because taking both classes is somewhat hectic. But initially, I have started the Hindi. So let's Meet then in the next session, and then we will discuss the remaining. Thank you, everyone. Take care and all the best.